You know, if anybody really wants to quote me, I have one little quote that I think would be really representative of the way I feel, and, and I'll expand on that. But the quote would be, "The cynic is the tyrant's best friend." Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that we create our own reality by the parameters we set for ourselves. And in this world full of death and destruction, where we see the mainstream media in particular, what do we see in the news? It's just one fucking horror story after another, isn't it? It's just bad news after bad news after bad news. It's just all bad news. We have so many solutions in this world, but we're inundated with bad news. Why is that, do you reckon? I mean, seriously. I mean, is it that there's no good news? No, of course not. There is actually a lot of good news. There are so many stories, inspirational stories of people doing the right thing, solutions to serious problems. All of that is there. But of course, we are inundated with the bad news. So why is that? Well, I'll tell you why. The reason why is because if we see only bad things, or at least only recognize bad things, because that's what's being presented to us, we develop the cynical point of view. And if you believe, like I do, that we create our own reality, and you've adopted a cynical point of view, then your perspective is usually laid out something like this. Oh, it's always been this way, it'll always be that way, why do you bother? That's kind of the nutshell case for the cynic. You know, it manifests in different ways, you know, but that's the crux of the cynic's point of view. And you know what? They're right. They're right. Because if you create your own reality, then whatever it is that you believe is the case actually becomes the reality. And in fact, the world that we live in is a direct result of us accepting the reality that is being presented to us and accepting the tyranny and the injustice and the fighting for the crumbs of material wealth that are being offered to us. This is all our reality because we accept it. We come to believe that that is the way life is, and indeed it will always be that way. And I'm only one person, and what can I do? There's a million different phrases and ways of looking at the world which effectively maintains this system. And that is why the cynic is the tyrant's best friend. Because the cynic will tell you, why are you trying to do that? Why don't you just take care of yourself? Don't you realize the world is always that way? Don't you realize the world will always be that way? The cynic will tell you every reason why you will never succeed in anything that will achieve any good, that will make human society advance and actually get beyond this insane cycle of self-destruction, of perpetual war. The cynic will tell you a million different reasons why you cannot succeed, and that is why the cynic is the tyrant's best friend. Whereas us dreamers, us utopians, or whatever derogatory term they might come up with to try and marginalize us and make us seem completely irrational, delusional, or whatever, we present the greatest threat to the tyrants because we conceive of something better. If you don't even conceive of something better, rest assured you will never achieve it. If you set the bar so low as to accept your lot in life and accept this insane reality, you will indeed get that. But if enough of us decide to see something beyond, something better, those are the people that will define a new world. Those are the people that will be responsible for creating a better world. Those will be the people responsible for handing over this world to our children in a better state. Those who have the audacity to imagine that we can have something better than what we have now. So indeed, if you want to be the best friend of a tyrant, remain cynical. If, however, you would rather have a better world, something you can feel good about handing over to your children, then adopt a new way of thinking. Start paying attention to the myriad of solutions and beautiful people out there who are standing up every day to do the right thing, oftentimes against all odds, under threat of torture, imprisonment, and death. Start looking at those people and all of the inspirational aspects of human life and start realizing the possibility of a better world, and say fuck you to the tyrants, because a better world is indeed of our own making. And if we can envision it, we can also make it a reality.